Hello everyone, my name is Andy, your one and only unofficial Ga Manche, and I'm supposed to be giving you tips for the upcoming audition of Saint Generation series. Okay, so forgive me for the poor quality of the video, but I'll be going straight to the point. At an audition, what we are actually expecting is for a cast director and his or her panel to be trying to tap out the best out of actors that agents have presented. Now, what we are actually doing differently is that ours is more like a talent hunt, okay? So we want to, as much as we want to tap out the qualities of acting or actors or whatever it is you want to call it, we also want to try and find out what talents you have and how best we can utilize them in this project that we are working on. The first thing I want to talk about is how you will be scored. Okay, so there are actually four things that you'll be scored on. The very first one is the action, which is the obvious thing that you're about to do. Okay, so the acting, the display that you do on the stage that you are given, it actually constitutes 30 marks. Okay, so the whole thing is 100. So aside the acting, there's also communication skills. We are also going to be looking out for your communication skills. Do you speak fluently? Do you have communication challenges? How freely are you able to communicate? Like, we want to talk about every single aspect of your communication skills. Okay, the next thing we'll also be talking about is your movement. We'll be looking out for your general movements. We wouldn't like to see you fidgeting. We want to see how well you control yourselves. You know, sometimes people come on stage and then they are like, they don't even know what exactly to do. They are so uncomfortable and they don't even know where to place their pairs. Just find a comfortable spot on the stage and then put your belongings on this. It's going to be a very short something. Okay, so that shouldn't be much of a big deal. You watch your movement. Okay, so the very last one that we'll be talking about is your stage presence. Okay, we'll be grading you on your stage presence. Sometimes, stage presence is more like the unquestionable quality of an actor. Okay, there are some people when they step on the stage, you just can't forget them. That's what we mean by stage presence. It's actually not something we can define. It's more like the zeal or your ability to the actor in you. Let me just put it that way. The moment you step on the stage, we have our own way of identifying that. So that should be it for how you be graded. I wouldn't want to attach any more marks, but there are marks allocated to each and everything that you do. The next thing I want to talk about is your dressing. Okay, you need to dress appropriately. There's no mark as to what you can and what you cannot wear, but dress appropriately. I think that speaks for itself. Okay, dress nicely. It shouldn't be all out, as in trying to be on top of a fashion. It's not a fashion show. You could just be simple, but then dress nicely. Okay, everything counts actually. With auditions, everything counts. Right from the moment you walk in, you are being watched. Every single thing you do, and the very first thing that we all see is your appearance. I think it speaks a lot about you. So dress very much appropriately. I'll quickly talk about another very important thing. We call it the code reading. Okay, a code reading is when you are given a script, you're handed over a script, and then you're supposed to memorize some lines and act accordingly. Now, code reading simply means your ability to grasp that thing that you've been given, get a concept of it, and be able to memorize and perform on it. It's usually a big deal for most actors who audition because it's not that easy. That's the sincere truth. It's not that easy, but the script that you are given is just a rough work. The real magic comes from within you, what you do with the work. So I want to quickly teach you how to code read without getting yourself into much trouble. The panel, what you want to do to get the attention of the panel is to speak to them, look into their eyes. Never lose any opportunity to have eye contact with the people that you are auditioning with. Sometimes you may be asked to audition with someone else, maybe another contestant, and what you have to do is to be able to, let me just teach you a simple trick. The very first line or first 2 lines of the script you are memorizing, you should get it off head, okay? And the very last ones, you should get it off head. Let's use a critical example like playing the guitar, okay? So for instance, you are in a dialogue, you are supposed to tell someone you love to play the guitar, but when your mood is at its worst, the guitar is nothing but a piece of wood. And so after that, there are other things that you would actually have to talk about, but because you are unable to memorize the whole thing, that part which involves the guitar, you should be able to memorize it. And then what you do is to put your thumb at the point that you were able to memorize to. So for instance, if I am supposed to be doing the acting, I'm just gonna go like, maybe I'm supposed to talk to someone. I love to play the guitar, but when my mood is at its worst, that thing is nothing but a piece of wood. You see, at that point, you maintain eye contact with the person that you are acting with. If there is nobody you are acting with, you maintain eye contact with the panel which is supposed to judge you, okay? And then, because you've got your thumb there, right after you are done, you know where you are continuing from. You don't have to go and look depressingly at what you are going to talk about next. That thing really frustrates the cast director, okay? So, and also in that same regard, when the next person that you are actually auditioning with is talking, don't take your mind off the person. Respond to the person, because when you take your mind off, you might lose track of. Usually, what actors do is they take their mind off the person and then they begin to look at their script again, as if to say they want to memorize the rest of it. Even though the test of memory is also important, but that is not really something that we look at, because we are also people, humans, we understand, okay? So we wouldn't be looking so much into your memory, but it's important and it's a plus. So the moment you are done, you listen to the person, and then it's absolutely fine to make reference to your script, the script that is given to you that you are supposed to, work on. That's just one aspect of code reading. Okay, so the code reading aside, there are a few things you should also take note of, some of which include the don'ts. Okay, you are not supposed to touch people and things when you come. Well, by the grace of COVID, we will be maintaining the protocol, so there wouldn't be the need to touch and stuff. But even on a regular day, you're not supposed to be touching. Like, some people want to actually reach out to the people on the panel and handshake them. It's inappropriate. You should also not be late. That's very important. I keep emphasizing on that. You should not be late. Okay, you need to come as early as possible. That's a plus, actually. And one thing too is, the moment you step on the stage, you should do away with all your notes or your personal issues. Just step out of that self of yours and enter into a new self. Do you get it? Just use the space. Forget about being in a bad mood, any forbearances that you've had, any problems that have come your way. Just forget all those things and then live in the moment. You need to personalize the material that is given to you. Okay, so when you are given the script, and for instance, you are supposed to be in the shoes of someone who is usually a bad person, okay, step in the moment and personalize the script. Link it to somebody you know who has been in that situation. Create that interconnectedness. When you are able to link it with something real, the tendency that you are going to play out that role very well is very high. Okay, so you need to take note of that too. One more thing, you have to step out of yourself. Okay, what I mean by step out of yourself is the character that you've been given. You should be able to analyze the character. Most often you'll be given a description of how the character is, but you should be able to step out of yourself and be in the shoes of the character. If the character is supposed to feel pain, put yourself in a situation that you are supposed to feel pain. That's when this is acting. You are supposed to be something or someone you are not. Your ability to play that role perfectly to create the impression that you are actually that person is what makes you, genuine or the best kind of actor. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, you should be able to establish an end or target. Okay, when you are given the script in your mind, set a target. Create an end. When there is something you want to achieve, it's like planning. When you have a desired goal and you are working towards it, it's much easier. Like, you don't just go and act into the air for acting's sake. Act because you want to depict something. Okay, so in a situation where you are supposed to create the impression that you are a good person, create that goal. At the end of this, I want to be a good person and act in that direction. If you are able to do that perfectly well, you realize that you wouldn't even have so much hinges like someone who is just acting because they are supposed to act. So create an end for yourself, a desired goal, a desired level, and work towards it. So that should be all for now. We are going to do our best to provide you the script tomorrow so that you actually go through and then memorize the part. If you're a female, you memorize that of the part of females. You're a male, you do that of males. So this is just, we are just trying to bring it, give it to you ahead so that you wouldn't have much difficulties trying to grasp the whole thing and then do that hasty thing. We don't want to do it. We just want to help out. Okay, like I said earlier, we are trying to tap out the talent in you so that we can work together. We are not interested in like finding your flaws. Okay, we want the best for you. We actually want people who are good to work with. So there's a lot of consideration from our end. That's why we want things. We don't want to turn people down because they are not good enough. We believe everybody who has auditioned is either someone who is good already or someone who is trying to explore that part of their life. So we push as much as possible that everybody will do perfectly well. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask them. When you are there, you don't understand the word, you can't pronounce a word on the script, don't hesitate to ask, find out things. Okay, make sure there's no harm in action. Okay, it doesn't mean anything, it just means you need to know and do the best that you can. Okay, very importantly, you need to come early so that we can leave early. We don't want to spend a certain amount of time on people. We can't waste your time. Maybe you have things to do, we also have things to do. We want to keep this very professional, very fast, and then we just work. So thank you for watching me. Once again, my name is Andy, one and only unofficial girl matcher. I'm the leader and the founder of UIGH. Okay, thank you for watching this video.